We just got Hyper Talk episode 2 from the Etheria restart team. I'm really excited to jump in. We will be reacting just moments after it drops. Let's get in.
Hello everyone, welcome to our second Hyper Talk, our official launch episode. Mark your
Always
calendars
blows
on
me
June
away how
5th,
young these
5
guys
p.m.
look.
Eastern Time. I'm Marcus, here with our community manager Chris for our newest updates.
Hey guys, it's Chris. Good to see you all again. Thank you so much for the enthusiasm with our last beta. We had over 200,000 players across the globe and so much engagement across all of our different social media platforms, Discord communities, Reddit communities, and more. During this test, we've had tons of brilliant ideas.
There we are. Shout out America.
Monitoring and optimizing. We're super excited to have you here and we're ready for launch. Just want to say thank you guys so much again. We've gathered so much useful gameplay data and the devs are looking into all of this feedback that you've
sick
given
ass
us
mug
to balance and fine tune the game before launch. We'll be sharing a patch notes soon on the Discord, so stay tuned for that. Now getting into today's Hyper Talk, we've got some changes and optimizations to talk about from our beta feedback. We've got some new animists joining us and also some details about our launch celebration.
Oh, let's fucking go.
Which will include incredible giveaways and benefits.
Now on to the questions. First up, we'd like to address the recent discussion about anima use in RTA.
This is
Okay, so this was basically there was this misconception that RTA, essentially, that are there going to be dupes in certain modes, and it was going to be, what's the difference between free to play friendly and like free to play and pay to win are like there's zero difference, right? So free to play friendly is it's a small difference, but you'll be able to compete with strategy, etc. And we see that in other games, right? There's been games where the second place is a free to play and the first and third place are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think it's reasonable to have this position where paid stuff does give you some benefit, right? Because dupes and all these things make a difference in games like this.
A big one, and we sincerely apologize for not promptly identifying this and clarifying the misconception sooner. Just so you guys know, anima are effective across all different gameplay modes in Etheria Restart. We've also designed multiple ways to acquire anima tokens, as well as a new RTA shop that wasn't in our last beta. In that RTA shop, you can also obtain dupes. Moving forward,
that's awesome. And you know what? I think this is totally reasonable. There's always going to be people that are upset about this type of stuff. And I think that's fine too. You can feel misguided and you can even show a lack of support through your spending decisions, right? That's the power we all have. But just know that I'm going to be canceling that out with some spending of my own.
We'll continue to monitor and optimize this gaming experience with anima.
And now for more
so excited for this.
Topics. Translation issues.
Yep, Etheria has tons of extensive story content, characters, skill descriptions, and much more. And of course, those are going to come with some challenges. Tons of extensive story content, characters.
Topics. Translation issues.
Yep, Etheria has tons of extensive story content, characters, skill descriptions, and much more. And of course, those are going to come with some challenges. So you guys know we've expanded our localization and LQA teams. You can also join us on the Discord and make contributions there to get some benefits.
This is exactly what I want to see. I want to see local players helping to localize games, and I want to see internal efforts, not contractors, to get this sort of work done. This is how we avoid situations where like Sweet Baby Inc. are kind of changing the game in order to kind of mold it to local expectations, but really those expectations aren't local, they are personal, right? So this is good.
So some other concerns that players have mentioned: major servers launching all at the same time, daily refresh times not synchronized across various regions, leading to a lot of players experiencing level lag and delayed feature access.
Of course, different regions will have different reset times for the most convenient experience, but we do encourage players to join the server that is closest to them. What we did notice is that in the first few days, especially with this time-gated content, these progression gaps can be amplified and impact the experience negatively. This is something that will stabilize over time, but on launch, we have decided to restrict the RTA cross-region matchmaking so that all of you guys don't have this negative impact with the time gating. And
boom, like perfect answer after perfect answer. This is what I want to see. I want to see you hear a problem from the audience, right? This is how game development works today, because there's so much input from outside sources. You need to hear the problem from the audience, take that problem, analyze why it is a problem. What is that a symptom of? And then actually address the cause. And these guys are doing exactly that. They're saying, this issue is kind of a short-term issue. It's something that you really just see in the early hours of spikes, right? You're going to have like really quick reactions in the beginning. And if those people that have access to something and the people outside of their region don't, that 2-hour window makes a big difference. But as those players start to play, like, you kind of hit a exponential growth situation where everybody is or is it exponential? It's getting exponentially closer to a peak, right? And that peak is kind of at this top line, right? And as time goes on, the growth gets smaller over time, right? And that means that everybody gets closer together, player power gets closer together, and this will essentially address that early hour issue. And then they'll be able to take that off, and all players will be able to dingle and dongle each other, and it won't be this issue. Just overall, this is the kind of stuff I want to see, right? Just thinking, brains,
eventually
and also not avoiding these issues, not avoiding the topic, because that's the other thing that you see a lot in game development as well, is you see just people avoid the issue. They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to think about it, they don't want to admit it's even an issue. But players are usually right. They see this stuff coming.
Enable this in Summit and Fearless Arena once things are stabilized.
With many regions having different keyboard layouts, some people have been asking if there will be custom key binding features.
Yes, there will be. Our developers have been discussing these concerns, and we're planning to provide multiple keyboard layout schemes for character movement, skill casting, and much more for a smoother gaming experience.
On to some other important questions people have asked. So current poll stats combine all banners across limited and permanent banners, but now they will be displayed separately.
We've noticed this, and as Marcus said, it will be displayed separately, and we'll also give you the option to filter out through banners so you can see where you've been lucky or where you're missing out.
That's awesome. A lot of places don't even give you stats on this in their interface. So being able to tell if you have a lucky account or a not lucky account, those are just kind of fun little things that people will enjoy. The kind of stuff I want to see from a game like this again.
Players have also asked if
10,
the
10,
pity
10,
count for
10.
limited banners carry over to the next limited banner.
I'm happy to announce this, that yes, they do carry.
Oh my God. Wait, actually, no, that's standard. That's standard. I'm getting too hyped for these guys. I'm thinking about other banners. I guess I don't know if there are some games that don't do this. I don't play every gacha game in the world. I'm not a fucking loser. But I will say I do play some games that do carry over. Nikkei, for example.
Carry over. Pity counters for the same type of banner will be inherited by the next. This also includes constant disorder banners, also known as LD banners, and they have their own independent pity, but they still carry over. Pity counts have also been reduced.
Oh, this fucking art, dude. This art is so sick.
From 100 to 80 based on feedback that we had.
The 2D looks great, the 3D looks
now on to a
great.
question about UI. Players are concerned that Animus roles are not very clear. Roles like tank, DPS, and support are not clearly indicated.
Yeah, so in Etheria, character roles can be quite complex. Same characters can have multiple strategies and builds. We have an example like Tiamat, who you can build as a tank or a DPS. What we do encourage is for players to check out our community guides. We have some sponsored ones like Hell Hades and Pridewind, but also on the Discord there's many player-made guides that can help you out and figure out how to strategize your builds.
Our next topic.
Yeah, that's essentially a get good straight from the devs on the Hyper Talk episode 2. That's what I like to see, baby.
Is about stage content.
Get good.
We currently do not have any data tracking for damage or healing stats at the end of matches. We are happy to share that we discussed ways to implement this in the future.
Yep, we've received this feedback quite a bit, and
This
we've
is
been
easy.
discussing ways to implement it. We hope to display more valuable combat information in the future for a better competitive experience. So
I will say this is potentially cost reduction early on. Database interactions, I've developed for games like this before, and database interactions are often some of your highest ongoing costs post launch. Obviously, you have team costs, you have all this money that you're borrowing, and it's a matter of will we be successful or not? And they're going to kind of find out on the 5th. Right. And it's going to be really obvious really quick. And then, of course, it's going to be a second question of are we going to continue to be competitive in the market? And one of the major deciding factors is what is your total cost versus your total income, of course, and just that EBITDA. If they dedicate themselves to tracking too many leaderboards, too many stats per player, giving accounts too many unique data points that are only for them, that affected, I think, Clash of Clans way back when they had all those trophies and things you could put on your map. This just causes bloat and unnecessary costs early on, especially once they get to the point of understanding like where they're at in terms of revenue. They can start to make a lot of these decisions a lot easier. But early on, it's just let's try and stay as scrappy as possible so that we can guarantee we stick around for the long run, because there's often a bumpy road along the way, and to just commit to the best version possible that you could possibly do is actually not even best for the players many times, right? Because if the game runs out of cash in 3 months, we've seen a couple of those pretty recently, even in 1 month, it's a problem, right? So I respect this, and hopefully my reasoning's right. Maybe I'll be called out for that not being the case here.
I am curious, do characters in Etheria Restart have fixed resistances in battle?
Yes, they do. In Etheria's combat system, the hit rate can be increased a maximum of 2 times the skill probability and reduced to a minimum of half the skill probability.
That's cool.
There's a fixed resistance of 10%, meaning debuff success rates cannot exceed 90%. Of course, we're going to be monitoring this after the game launches, and if any values need adjustment, we'll make sure to inform the players in the patch notes and also in our Discord.
So
Next
at least a
on our list is one of
10%
the top
fail
and
rate
most asked
for all
questions
debuffs and things.
related to stamina issues. The overall feedback is that free daily stamina allowance seems a bit low.
Yeah, so after our testing in the beta, we've discovered this issue, and we've decided to increase the free stamina acquisition from daily tasks on launch. This allows free-to-play players to have more stamina to experience more game content.
This is
and
just a
upgrade their
knob
characters faster.
that they're turning, right?
Awesome. Now for
That's
another
fine.
commonly discussed topic.
And it's
character
good
generation.
that they're making
We
the
have over
adjustment.
7,000 messages on feedback threads about it.
Yeah, this one has been a mess, but
Okay, this is basically asking for comment on the question, is this a Gooner game? And I mean, let's be honest, guys. This is a Gooner game. Do we have to get 558? Let's go back. This is a Gooner game for men and for women, and maybe for men. You know what I mean? So I say, be quiet about it. I think there's certain nations, especially, where they're so parasocial with these characters that they can't handle just the thought of someone diddling their little loved one. There's a man in my video game that could diddle my beautiful fake wife. Oh. It's just like fucking embarrassing, bro. Like, I don't even need to hear the answer to this question.
yeah, this one has been a mess, but we're hearing you guys. Etheria Restart's goal has always been to include plenty of uniquely charming characters in the future, both male and female. We're taking all of your suggestions.
And the opposite is, and they're pointing at that, maybe they're hearing more of the opposite. The opposite is any hint of sexualization of females is screamed at as if it's like, oh, you're not allowed to have beautiful women. But I bet you they don't say shit about fucking Messiah here. You know what I mean?
Into consideration. I know the thread has been a mess and many people have mixed opinions, but
Childish.
we're excited to release so many more new animus across launch.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Well,
Just
since
ignore
everyone
those
is curious
fucking
about
losers.
future Animus releases, why don't we ask Chris and the team what is planned?
In the first few weeks after open beta launch, besides the animus that appeared in the paid test, will there be more new animus? Yes. Actually, they already answered this in the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Where they
that's a
said we're
big
going to cover
one.
more.
As everyone knows, in our recently concluded final test, we did add 8 new animus to the game, each with their own unique characteristics.
Oh, in addition
So
to those.
we have many plans for future animus development, several appearing on launch, and many planned for the future. So look forward to it.
Okay, but I'm
Several at launch is
sure
the
you can give
answer.
us a
Several
little
at
bit.
launch.
All right. Let's start off with our brand new animus, Mio. We've prepared an introduction to show off
All right. I'm not going to cheer for this because I know everybody thinks the second you see that character, anybody that likes the character is a pedophile.
her exquisite features. So let's
not
watch
gonna
that
cheer.
together.
But I'm always happy to see new characters. And variety. Very revealing clothing for a character this small, I'll say. Yeah. And that's kind of my feeling on it too. Although we got some cool guys up on the shoulders here. I like this little guy. I don't really know the HP and stuff. Single damage, CC, steel turn meter. Okay. I don't know the specifics well enough. I did a video a while back on each of the characters and their lore and everything we knew so far. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out. It's missing quite a few characters, I think. But this is cool, and I do like to see that this early on, at the very least, we are getting new characters already, right? That's easy enough to clap for. Let's go back here. All right, this is the Matrix. Look at that animation. When you break it down to the frames, it's actually kind of interesting. It's like very blinky. Skill preview. This is what we want to see.
Skill
This is
1.
kind of what I
Neo
was
inflicts
skipping
damage
through.
on a single enemy with the chance to apply freeze for 1 turn.
Right.
Skill 2. Mio deals damage to all enemies with a chance to apply freeze for 1 turn. Ultimate
Okay.
skill. Mio deals damage to all enemies, steals all turn meter from the primary target and portions from other targets, distributing it equally among all allies, and
That's pretty
applies
cool.
increased speed to all allies for 2 turns.
Being able to focus that on a particular target, like your main target, is cool. And it's cool that you could potentially give up focusing all targets, right? If it's a 3-way, you could focus on one on the side if you're worried about what that one's going to do. So it does give control and variance to how you play with them, which is cool.
Turns. Mio specializes in freezing opponents and stealing turn meter. Both
Yep.
her first and second skills can keep enemies in a continuous frozen state. By prioritizing her ultimate skill for crowd control and turn meter theft, she creates favorable conditions for her team to act faster.
Very cool.
In high-intensity PvP strategic battles, Mio excels as a critical first speed control animus.
I really love the bar at the bottom. I really love this this bar, and you still see all your characters up here, but you can just feel out the timing of who's doing what, and you get this transition to their abilities, and it just feels like a clean version of
All right,
this
I hope you guys
turn-based
enjoyed
combat.
that. Let's get on to our next animus we'd like to reveal. They're
Ooh,
known as
two?
the powerful Iron Fist Warrior,
Oh, fuck
Mizuki
yeah.
Makoto. She's hungry
Dude, I am such a big fan of big metal, like robot fist mommies. And you know what?
for power.
Look at
and
those
her strength
fucking
is her-
legs. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Jesus. Yeah. I'm gonna get a tattoo of her on my cock.
Is her only guarantee of survival in this world.
I love it already.
She got a bunny
But
tail?
that can't be the only animus related.
There's three at launch? Are you
It's not.
kidding me?
I guess I can reluctantly share.
Yo, why is this community manager so fucking like Gen Z hot boy? And then we got even like nerd bro over here is kind of looking good as
They're a
as
little
well.
bit
I gotta
more
go to their barbers.
Similar to our beta,
Man, I
our
got
friends
fucking
Freya and
butchered
Messiah will
recently.
be returning as our first rate-up banners on launch. But speaking of powerful animus, I wonder if anyone remembers someone special who goes by the name of Hoyan, who didn't appear in our recent beta.
I do slightly remember this, but in this test, there's also a boss with the same name. We've occasionally seen glimpses of her in certain promotions.
Wait.
Yes, we have. Hoyan still has many secrets waiting to be explored. All of
Okay,
this requires
so maybe a like a evil and a good version of this character throughout the story that you gain access to.
hyperlinkers in the real world to work together and assist in the Etheria world. As for exactly how to do this, please continue following us for official updates.
Damn.
Now let's move on to the
They're
next
gonna
topic.
keep us
How
on our
does the team
toes
plan to
here.
design
I don't know
future
enough
activities
to decode this. If anybody knows, throw it in the comments.
and events
There'll
like
be new events after the open beta.
Candy Party, and will there be more events in the future?
Yep,
Yeah, obviously.
there will be. So our design philosophy is to allow
Nobody asked this
hyperlinkers to
question.
accumulate items and rewards while relaxing with daily actions to unwind. On launch, we'll kick off with a new event called Shell Story. This is a classic dice rolling map event where you can control your
Okay,
hyperlinker.
that's cute. This kind of gives a view of the type of events that they'll be doing. You know what? I honestly, I would much rather this type of stuff than long drawn out story quests. Like Honkai Star Rail is just like miserable with some of this stuff where it just feels like they only know one way to get you to stay in the game, and this is like way better than that. I feel the same about Nikkei actually. Like some of those game modes, it's like this. First of all, the story is actually compelling in some of them, but then you get like the little mini games and on the little Game Boy thing on the front screen, and especially when it's active and part of a real like event that's going on, it feels way better to do one of those and spend some time in there playing like essentially a different game than it feels to go into like a 5-hour story quest on a character that is cool in the moment, but that's going to be the last time you talk to them. Right. I far prefer like having kind of your core crew that you're building on, and like that story is primarily surrounding, and then you kind of have these little events outside that are just for fun, and they don't need to be more than that.
Hyperlinker to gather rewards.
It looks like you're going to be able to get paid currency here as well, potentially.
Just so you guys know, each event will always have different art and designs, bringing unique surprises each time.
Oh, actually,
That
I
actually
think these
sounds
are
like a
just
lot.
event currency.
I can't wait to try it myself. Speaking of game modes, I remember the guild versus guild function was
What's the
mentioned
current
in
development
previous
progress
tests.
of Guild
Are there
v.
any new
Guild?
updates on this?
Yeah, so this has been one of the most asked questions, and
Guild v. Guild hasn't been good for a while in a lot of games, and honestly, it just ends up leading towards like one-sidedness and people shifting. Same thing happens on like PvP servers and World of Warcraft, things like that. It can be good in these types of games, especially if it's like controlled sizes, and especially if it's the right type of game mode. I remember back in the day, Castle Clash used to have a really solid Guild v Guild mode, where you'd kind of try and find the bases of your opponents that were kind of the most attackable, and you would each communicate like, oh, here's a couple good ones, even the bad people on our team can get those guys, and they'd at least get some points. And you know what, you could only do what you could do, so it didn't feel like, it just felt like you did your job to contribute, and that was your job. It wasn't that you had to like do peak efficiency or maximum anything. It's just kind of a fun little thing where you showed your courage for the team, right?
and I'm excited to talk about it. Guild vs. Guild United Front is in the final development stage. Let me briefly share a preview. From the
Oh, hell
interface
yeah.
shown on screen, you can see that the United Front mode requires
Looks good.
hyperlinkers to work together in territory battles to earn better rewards. We can't wait
I
for
like
you to
that.
experience it.
Yeah.
Wow, even from that snippet we
I
just
like that
saw,
they're
it really
thinking
looks like a
about it.
fun challenge.
That's enough for me, honestly.
Now, I know all of you hardcore RTA players have been waiting for this. Since the final test, RTA rankings have been finalized. When will the EWS qualifications be announced?
That's an excellent question. We've just completed the qualification.
I don't care about
rankings for
this
the final
personally, but I like that
What's
they
displayed
focus
on the
on it.
screen now are the players who have earned the EWS 2025 qualification through the rankings. We've also notified all of these players about specific participation methods via email. Don't miss out on the messages on the upcoming EWS.
I love that. They're like, hey guys,
Additionally,
check
on
your
Etheria's
email.
launch, we'll provide qualification
These 20
opportunities
guys.
again on the ranking settlement information. Specific rules will be announced in the future on our official platforms. We welcome all hyperlinkers to join the EWS arena and become the ultimate competitive champions.
Wow, time sure flew by really quickly. We're already at the end of today's video.
Indeed. Etheria
That's what happens when you're doing good work.
Etheria's official
Honestly.
launch we've been eagerly awaiting is finally coming. Hyperlinkers, don't forget that Etheria's global launch will be on June 5th, 2024.
Ethereum's global launch. Etheria, right? And I don't know if you can adjust closed captions. They might go through it after, but maybe do that, boys.
This will be on PC, Android, and iOS platforms. Pre-registration is currently underway, so if you haven't done that yet, head to our website
Go pre-register. Go do it right now, dude. Go do it. This game is gonna rock.
to receive pre-registration
Can't wait to
rewards
stop
for
hearing
launch.
about Honkai Star Rail.
There's also a redemption code available at launch, Etheria 0605.
Etheria 0605. You gotta type it all fucked up like that though, guys.
Make sure to join our Discord and follow our social media
I wonder if there's any spaces. I would kind of guess
for
that
future
there's not.
updates and free in-game resources.
Cool, thank you, Marcus. That concludes today's Hyper Talk. If you have any more questions, please join our discussions on our Discord and Reddit communities. See you all on June 5th for Etheria's launch. Take care, guys.
Dude,
Thank you so much.
fantastic. Solid team, solid attitude, handled drama well. Like, That's what I like to hear, baby. That's what I like to hear. Fantastic. Well, I am just so excited to get into this. We're only like less than a week away, and these guys deserve
many
all
more
the
than a week.
requests. These guys deserve all the success that they see. I think they've done some really cool stuff. We're getting new characters day one. We're getting a lot of CC on one of the characters, right? A lot of freeze, a lot of drain from their action. That's the sort of stuff that kind of adds flavor to battles, especially when you add that late into a launch, because you want to mix everybody's thoughts up. Everybody's been kind of pre-figuring out exactly what they're going to be doing and planning every one of their actions ahead of time. And by throwing that wrench in there, especially characters that really can have kind of an unknown effect, and it's not so quantifiable, like damage numbers are so easily comparable. I think this is fantastic. That's the type of stuff I want to see. But you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong with, wait, we got to get to the screen. Where is it? I mean, look at those hands. Look at those hands. You know? Look at those. How's she gonna jerk me off with those hands? We'll figure it out. All right, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for the view, everyone. Peace.